Chair of New People's Party Regina Ip will not seek re-election in the Legislative Council election. Another round of trade talks between China and the U.S. commences. And Thailand's Queen Mother Sirikit has died. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. Today is the second day of the nomination period for the upcoming Legislative Council election. Veteran lawmaker and the chairwoman of the New People's Party, Regina Ip, announced she will not seek another term in the Legislative Council. This as the party unveiled its list of 8 candidates, with Judy Chan-Kapui succeeding Ip in contesting the Hong Kong Island West seat. 2 more incumbent legislators, Eunice Yeung and Lai Tong-kwok, also said they will not run for the upcoming LegCo poll. Samantha Lee tells us more.
75-year-old Regina Ip led the New People's Party, revealing its list of candidates for the LegCo election, but Ip was not on the list. Incumbent lawmaker Judy Chan will succeed Ip to compete in Hong Kong Island West, while Dominic Lee and Adrian Ho will contest for re-election in the New Territories North East and Election Committee constituency respectively. 5 district councillors, Kelvin Kwok, Ken Man Fong, Marcella Chern, Victor Chan and Michael Liu, will participate in their respective geographical constituencies. 3 incumbent lawmakers, including Regina Ip, Lai Tong-kwok, aged 73, as well as Eunice Yeung, aged 48, will not run in the upcoming election. Ip, who has served in the city's lawmaking body for 17 years, says it's time to pass the baton to the next generation.
I think I'm the only politician with online support group, and I'm very active on social media. So I'm not retiring, don't get me wrong. I will continue to work hard for Hong Kong, for the future of our country, for Hong Kong residents in the coming years.
Concerns mount over lawmakers reportedly having to retire over the age of 70. Urging the public not to speculate, Regina Ip said she will continue to serve society with her expertise and policy research. When Eunice Yeung was asked if the decision to step down was related to her father-in-law, Elmer Yuan, who is an activist wanted by the police for allegedly violating the national security law, Yeung stressed she made the decision on her own.
Whether to elect or not to re-elect, it is my sole decision, and it's not affected by any other parties and any other person. So all others rumors are just speculations.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Affairs Commission received 8 nomination forms on Saturday. Seeking re-elections are Kwok Wai Keung from the Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions, or FTU. He is switching tracks to fight in a direct election. For the functional constituencies, FTU member Lam Wai Kong, who currently serves in Wan Chai, hopes to represent the Labour constituency. 6 more candidates will take part in the election committee election, including FTU's Kingsley Wong and Joyce Wong. Together with lawyer Junius Ho and those who handed in their nomination forms on Friday, 10 nominations for the election committee were received so far. The 8th term Legislative Council election would take place on December 7th, with the nomination period closing on November 6th. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Outgoing LegCo President Andrew Leung said the Legislative Council was back on the right track this term. Leung, aged 74, has chaired the LegCo for 2 terms. He earlier announced his decision to step down. Looking back, he said the council has overcome years of internal deadlock and has passed a lot of major bills. Speaking on a radio program, Leung held the constructive interactions between lawmakers and the government. He said he hopes newly elected councillors could carry on this legacy. The Civil Aviation Department said it has recovered the black box from the Emirates cargo plane that was involved in the recent crash that led to 2 deaths. The device is currently undergoing an inspection, with a report expected to be issued within a month's time. Day 3 of these 2 vessels salvaging debris of the damaged Emirati aircraft. The tail of the plane has been retrieved, while the front of the aircraft still lies near the breakwater. The patrol car that was pushed into the sea by the aircraft has also been found. Just yesterday, the salvage team managed to recover one of the plane's engines and its landing gear, while the Aircraft Accident Investigation Authority said it successfully retrieved two of the cargo aircraft's black boxes. The devices, which contain the plane's communication records, were both submerged in water and require further inspection in the lab. Authorities said an investigation report will be issued within 1 month's time. This as the police said the alcohol and drug tests for the Emirates crew all came back with negative results. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan thanked the salvage and investigative teams for their efforts and praised their professional attitude. Meanwhile, the families of two victims killed in the incident have met with the managing director of the aircraft's company, the consul general of the Turkish consulate, and representatives of the Transport and Logistics Bureau. The group assisting the families said the grieving relatives received a death gratuity. A fresh round of China-U.S. trade talks is taking place on the sidelines of the landmark ASEAN summit in Malaysia. Danny Zhou has the report.
China's trade envoy, Vice Premier He Lifeng, and his delegation touched down in the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur late yesterday. They met with their U.S. counterparts this morning to kick off the fifth round of high-stakes negotiations. Senior trade negotiator Li Chenggang is also participating. High on the agenda are issues such as technology, rare earths, and export controls. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in an interview with Fox News that Washington will not rule out an upgrade of its restrictive measures should Beijing refuses to roll back the sweeping rare earth curbs. This as the U.S. government is reportedly contemplating placing restrictions on exports of products made with American software that could include laptops and airplane engines. Bessent also said he hopes their trade talks would finish on a positive note and pave the way for a meeting between the two presidents at an APEC summit in South Korea next week. Departing the White House for his Asia tour, U.S. President Donald Trump said he would bring up the Taiwan issue with President Xi Jinping.
Well, I'll be talking about Taiwan. Won't be going there, but I'll be talking about it. Won't be too far away. A lot of respect for Taiwan.
In another development, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative opened a probe into China's implementation of the Phase 1 trade agreement clinched during the first Trump term. According to USTR's release, the agreement required China to increase purchases of American goods and services worth over $200 billion while opening its markets within 2 years at least. Liu Pengyu, spokesman of Chinese embassy in the U.S., posted on social media that Beijing has meticulously honored its agreement obligations. The diplomat has voiced opposition to what he termed as false allegations and said U.S.'s escalated economic pressure against China inflicted serious damage to bilateral and trade ties. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump announced he would scrap all trade negotiations with Canada. Trump was angered by a television advertisement sponsored by Ontario that used the words of former President Ronald Reagan to criticize his tariff policy. The move has prompted the Ontario provincial government to announce that the ad would be taken down. Danny Zhou tells us more.
The ad in question featured a 1987 speech by former Republican President Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs on foreign goods, which he said would inevitably cause job losses and trade wars.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
It is reported that the ad cost the Ontario government about $750 million Canadian dollars. Reagan signed the free trade agreement with Canada in the 80s. Trump, in the Truth Social post, said he decided to terminate trade talks with the U.S.'s northern neighbor after learning of the anti-tariff ad, attacking it as being fake. Ontario decided to pull the ads over Trump's objections, but will allow them to be shown this weekend, including in Games 1 and 2 of the World Series. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute said the ad had misrepresented the words of the former president through editing. The Canadian Prime Minister has indicated that he's ready to resume talks with Washington on trade. He also made it clear that his government would seek to explore more opportunities through developing relations with Asian nations.
And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Thailand's Queen Mother Sirikit died on Friday. She had supervised rural projects to help the rural poor and preserve traditional craft making and protect the environment. The Thai government said public offices would fly flags at half-mast for a month and asked government officials to observe mourning for 1 year. Entertainment venues were asked to suspend activities for a month. Since October 17th, she had been suffering from a blood infection, but despite her medical team's efforts, her condition did not improve. Sirikit's husband, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, was Thailand's longest reigning monarch, with 70 years on the throne since 1946. She was at his side for much of that, winning over hearts at home with her charity work. When they traveled abroad, she would also charm the world's media with her beauty and fashion sense. Still ahead, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky meets the coalition of the willing in London. The fallout continues after NBA coach and player were arrested in relation to FBI gambling investigation. And the local wine and dine festival continues into the weekend. Welcome back. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has urged the United States to expand sanctions on Russian oil from 2 companies to the whole sector. Zelensky was speaking in London for talks with 24 European leaders. Tracy Furness reports.
A crowd waving Ukrainian flags greet Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer arriving for the Coalition of the Willing meeting in London with European leaders. Hosted by the coalition's co-leader Keir Starmer, the talks aimed to step up pressure on Russian leader Vladimir Putin, adding momentum to measures in recent days that have included a new round of sanctions from the US and European countries that take aim at Russia's vital oil and gas export earnings.
First, we will act to take Russian oil and gas off the global market. Last week, the UK became the first country to sanction all of Russia's oil majors. On Wednesday, the US acted decisively to join us, together with further sanctions from the EU. And we're choking off funding for Russia's war machine.
Starmer also remarked on major countries scaling back oil purchases from Russia.
I would also add that the measures or the movement in position by India and China in relation to Russian energy and oil in particular are also significant.
Zelensky adding his country is carrying out its own campaign.
We are carrying out our own campaign of pressure with drones and missiles, specifically targeting the Russian oil sector.
He also called on the US to sanction all Russian oil companies, not just 2.
There is one more important decision by the United States of America, sanctions against 2 large Russian oil companies. All Russian oil companies, including Rosneft, Lukoil, Putin's own oil company, and others, must be blocked.
This is NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said Putin's goals remain unchanged, but he is running out of money, troops and ideas.
In Ukraine, Putin is gaining little ground on the battlefield. And where there are marginal gains, they are coming at a huge price. Hundreds of thousands of Russians are dying for Putin's deluded aggression. Ukraine continues defending itself bravely, and our support to them is working. The truth is that Putin is running out of money, troops and ideas.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The fallout continues a day after an active NBA head coach and player were arrested in relation to an FBI gambling investigation. The NBA's commissioner as well as players are voicing their opinions on the matter. Dan Rao tells us more.
A day after an active NBA head coach and player were arrested in connection with an FBI gambling investigation, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver expressed his dismay about the scandal. Speaking on Amazon Prime Video's debut NBA broadcast featuring the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks, Silver said his initial reaction was that he was deeply disturbed. He added there's nothing more important to the league and its fans than the integrity of the competition. It was very upsetting. Silver added the US federal government has subpoena power. It can threaten to put people in jail, can do all kinds of things the league office can't do. So the NBA has been working with them to help with investigations. NBA players have also voiced their concerns about the matter.
I understand it's a part of the league. I understand that people basically put their life savings on this. And I don't think it's a great idea, especially because you're betting on another person to do something. Just not very smart mind. And that's just for like the regular bettors. Now for people in the NBA, you know, I'm gonna just hold my comments on that. I don't think it's the greatest thing to do.
The income and the money that they're making with the league, me personally, I just have never really tapped in and been invested into it. I know it's a up and growing hobby for people, but it's obviously just unfortunate to see people that you work with, play with, or whatever the case is, go through that, but everybody has their own stories.
Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier is accused of tipping off gamblers that he would leave the game early due to injury. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups is accused of playing in rigged poker games in New York that were linked to the mafia. A total of 34 people were arrested in separate investigations into betting and illegal poker. Dan Rowell, TVB News.
A Picasso portrait of longtime muse and partner Dora Maar that had remained out of view for more than 8 decades has been sold at auction for 32 million euros, including fees. Painted in July 1943, bust of a woman with a flowered hat, Dora Maar, depicts Maar in a brightly colored floral hat. Maar, an artist and photographer herself, had been Picasso's partner and muse for about 7 years, and the relationship came to a painful close. The work was purchased in 1944 and had not been on the market since, remaining in a family collection. The painting was auctioned at the Drought Auction House in Paris. The auction house heralded the reappearance of the work, part of Picasso's Woman in a Hat series, as a moment of rare significance, revealing for the first time the full radiance of a work long kept secret. Auctioneer Christophe Lucien said the price was the highest price paid at auction this year for an artwork in France. On the third day of the Wine and Dine Festival, weekend crowds have surpassed weekday attendance. Vendors report strong sales, and the Hong Kong Tourism Board has announced flexible arrangements allowing guests to stay past midnight. Celine Chan tells us more.
As the Wine and Dine Festival enters the weekend, many visitors are eager to enjoy a drink. Even before sunset, the central harbourfront is filled with wine enthusiasts. For the first time, operating hours have been extended by half an hour until midnight.
I think the atmosphere so far is pretty good. Like everyone's I see they're really willing to, buy food, buy wine. I really enjoy it.
First time ever. I was just surprised how big it is, and there's a big selection, of course, the old world wines, but then it's my first time trying wine from Georgia. I tried a couple Chinese wines, which I'm not familiar with.
The Grand Wine Pavilion has made a return featuring nearly 500 premium wines, all priced above $700, with many exceeding $10,000. Exhibitors have reported exceptionally strong sales.
I think the turnout rates seem to be much better than expectation. There are lots of people coming in, especially even on Friday evening and also like Saturday afternoon now. I think a lot of people, local people and lots of visitors to Hong Kong, they're coming to the Wine and Dine Festival.
And where there's fine wine, there is gourmet food. Several local hotels and Michelin-starred restaurants are showcasing Hong Kong's top-tier culinary offerings. The Tourism Board has stated that flexible arrangements will be in place, allowing attendees to stay past midnight and enjoy the festivities to the fullest. Celine Chan, TVB News.
Residents will get to enjoy the views and take pictures with 4 popular characters at the Victoria Harbour for 8 consecutive days. A gigantic Doraemon, Elmo, McDonald's Grimace, and a Labubu monster leisurely sunbathed just next to Tamar Park, greeting residents and tourists alike. With some of the characters standing above 20 meters tall, the figures attracted scores of curious visitors, hoping to make some lasting memories with them. This woman said she came all the way to the attraction since her child is a fan of Japanese manga icon Doraemon. While this Shenzhen tourist says she and her friends are fans of Doraemon and Labubu, adding she enjoyed the drinks and views offered at the park. This, as a similar character-themed market was held at the Central Harbourfront. Visitors could purchase limited edition souvenirs as well as engage in various games. The arena is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, with adult tickets costing $50 upwards and $40 for children.
呢個全球首創，雲集世界知名 IP。
Meanwhile, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism, Rosanna Law, noted authorities are aiming to hold more activities featuring such world-renowned characters and hopes their assembly in Victoria Harbour can transform the city into a hub of popular culture. And that's the news. Thanks for watching.